Okay, here's a thought. What if a company, one many had almost written off, was suddenly poised to really shake up the whole AI scene? Maybe even challenge the current giant.
It's a fascinating prospect, isn't it?
We're talking about Huawei and a potentially game-changing new AI chip they're developing.
Exactly. And that's our focus for this deep dive. It's not just, another piece of silicon. We're looking at Huawei's Ascend 910D.
Right.
And it seems aimed squarely at NVIDIA's crown. It really is shaping up to be a kind of tech showdown, a David and Goliath story maybe, with ripples that could spread, far beyond just these two companies.
And to really get our heads around this unfolding situation, we've got a couple of key sources. We're looking at a report from Al Jazeera for the sort of factual basis, and also a commentary piece that digs a bit deeper into what it all might mean.
Right. And for you listening, our goal here is pretty straightforward. Cut through the noise, pull out the really crucial information from these sources. We want to give you a clear picture of this important development, without drowning you in jargon. Hopefully provide some of those aha moments along the way.
Okay, so let's dive in. To really appreciate what Huawei might be doing, we first need to set the stage. We need to talk about the current leader, NVIDIA.
Oh, absolutely. You can't talk about AI chips without talking about NVIDIA. Their position is, it's dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, their chips are basically the engines driving so much right now. Advanced AI models, self-driving tech, you name it.
And that massive market cap they have.
Right.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Over $1 trillion. It just underlines their grip on this really critical market, a grip that Huawei seems to be directly challenging now.
So, okay, that's the background. NVIDIA's dominance. Now enter Huawei with this new chip, the Ascend 910D. What do we know about it? What makes it stand out?
Well, the first thing is the ambition. The sources say it's still in the early stages. Development and testing are underway.
Right.
Apparently, Huawei's already reached out to some major Chinese tech companies, to get them to test it, see if it holds up technically.
The goal is pretty high, from what I gather.
Very high. Huawei isn't just aiming to compete. The reports suggest they hope this chip, the 910D, will actually be more powerful than NVIDIA's H100.
Wow. Okay. The H100 is the current standard, pretty much.
Exactly. And the timeline they're looking at, the first samples could be out as early as late May 2025.
That seems fast.
It's aggressive, yeah. And it's worth remembering, this isn't their first attempt. They've had earlier versions, right?
Yes, the 910B and 910C, I believe.
That's right. So the 910D is building on that work. And actually, there are also reports that Huawei is planning to start mass shipments of the more advanced 910C chip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to their Chinese customers, possibly as soon as next month, so June 2025. It shows a clear progression. They're moving forward steadily.
No, we can't really talk about this without bringing in the wider context. The U.S. sanctions against China. That's a huge factor here.
Absolutely crucial. If you look at the bigger picture, the U.S. government has put some pretty significant restrictions in place, trying to limit China's access to these high-end AI chips from companies like NVIDIA.
We're talking bans on things like the H100 and even the upcoming B200.
Exactly. The stated goal is to slow down China's tech progress, especially in areas that might have, military uses.
And Huawei has definitely felt the pinch from this, right? Particularly when it comes to getting those top-tier chips needed for, training the really big AI models.
Oh, for sure. For years now, Huawei and other Chinese tech firms, too, they've struggled to make chips that could truly go head-to-head with NVIDIA's best stuff.
But Huawei has shown, a surprising amount of resilience, haven't they?
They really have. I mean, think about it. They've been on that U.S. trade blacklist for, almost 6 years now?
Yeah.
And despite that, they pulled off that surprise launch of the Mate 60 smartphone last year.
Right. With the domestically made processor. That caught everyone off guard.
It absolutely did, especially happening, right when the U.S. Commerce Secretary was visiting. It sent a message.
A message about their ability to innovate even under pressure.
Exactly. And you see that same drive, that same push for self-reliance and what they're doing with AI chips now. These Ascend chips, they're a really central part of China's bigger plan for a self-sufficient semiconductor industry.
So let's game this out a bit. If Huawei's new chip, this Ascend 910D, actually hits those performance targets, what happens then? What's the potential fallout?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the trillion-dollar question. The commentary piece we looked at suggests that even their current Ascend chips are getting, and I think the phrase used was terrifyingly close.
Terrifyingly close.
Yeah, terrifyingly close to matching NVIDIA's A100 performance, and maybe even being cheaper.
Okay. So if the 910D surpasses the H100,
Well, then you could see a real shift. Think about the big Chinese tech players, Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu.
right? Major customers for NVIDIA currently.
Precisely. If Huawei offers a competitive, maybe even superior domestically produced alternative, those companies might seriously look at testing and then adopting Huawei's chips.
To reduce their reliance on NVIDIA, which must be a strategic goal for them anyway.
You'd have to assume so. It lessens their dependence on foreign tech, especially given the sanctions environment.
The commentary piece used some pretty strong language here, didn't it? Talking about a potential silent revolution or even a slow-motion coup against NVIDIA.
It did. It frames it as a potentially massive disruption to NVIDIA's market share and dominance. And stepping back even further, the geopolitical implications are huge.
How so?
Well, people are starting to talk about AI as the new oil. It's seen as this fundamental resource that will shape, future global power.
So controlling the underlying technology, the chips.
Becomes incredibly important. It's about controlling the future, in a way.
And the U.S. government obviously sees that, hence tightening the export controls.
Clearly, they're trying to maintain that technological edge. But there's this interesting counterpoint raised in the commentary.
Which is?
Well, did the sanctions actually backfire in a sense? Did they inadvertently push China, and specifically Huawei, to double down on self-sufficiency and actually create a stronger, more motivated competitor in the long run?
That's a fascinating question. Kind of an unintended consequence.
It's definitely something to consider. The piece even floats what it calls a potential nightmare scenario for NVIDIA.
Okay, what's the nightmare?
The idea that maybe, just maybe, Huawei's chips end up powering the next wave of AI innovation globally, while the U.S. is sort of left playing catch-up because its own companies couldn't sell their best tech everywhere.
That is a provocative thought. Really underscores the stakes here.
Absolutely. Things move so fast in this field. Leadership today doesn't guarantee leadership tomorrow.
Okay, so bringing this all together for you, the listener, what are the absolute key things to take away from this deep dive?
I think there are three main things. First, Huawei is making a really determined effort, a serious push, to develop a top-tier AI chip, the Ascend 910D, despite facing major hurdles from U.S. sanctions.
Right. Resilience is key there.
Second, this isn't just an incremental update. This development genuinely has the potential to cause a significant shift in the AI chip market, directly challenging NVIDIA's long-held dominance.
It's a potential shakeup.
Definitely. And third, this isn't just about tech companies and market share. It has much broader implications for the future direction of AI development, yes, but also for technology policy and, frankly, the global balance of power.
So just to quickly recap then, we've looked into Huawei's Ascend 910D chip development. It's a serious contender, potentially capable of taking on NVIDIA, the current leader in AI hardware.
Yep.
And all this is happening against that complex background of U.S. sanctions trying to limit China's tech progress, which makes Huawei's push even more, remarkable.
It really does. And that leads us, I think, to the final thought we want to leave you with.
Okay.
Given everything we've discussed, this high-stakes race in AI chips, the sanctions, the drive for self-sufficiency, how might this particular development, Huawei's potential breakthrough, actually reshape things? Not just the future of AI itself, but maybe the whole landscape of tech innovation and global competition for years, maybe decades to come.
A big question to ponder. What does this tech showdown really mean down the line?